Hi there, everybody. It's Tracy Lewin and
Peter Murray, good morning, Tracy.
how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Oh, no, I'm excellent, thanks. Except you said good morning. It's actually good afternoon over here in Dubai.
You know what? It's afternoon here as well. It just feels like morning because time has flown as quickly in Crypto Valley. Things
Um,
are
things
hotting
are,
up, even though it's cold outside. What's the weather like there in Dubai?
no, it's actually very pleasant. It's about 28 degrees, so it's still winter. But yeah, so it's really really good, and it's been a very good week for Bitcoin.
Oh, there's been a lot of stuff in the news and a lot of positive news coming out. Yes.
No, absolutely, and we're still so excited and so bullish about Bitcoin. But
Okay.
here
Well, let's
are
review this news and see what the week brought us.
all right. So we have this Facebook page for Bit Media, and all these articles, all these headlines that I've put on here, are actually already on the page. So if you could go and have a look at the full article, if anything interests you. So our first one: does Bitcoin pose a threat to China's economic security? What is that about, Peter?
That's a very interesting article. I think, the big thing about, and this does not just apply to China, this applies to every country that has some form of capital control. I read something about Venezuela as well in the news. The fact is, but China is obviously the big one because, the Chinese economy has such a big impact on the world. But, people are afraid that digital currencies will bring uncertainty into the Chinese economy because people can put money into bitcoins and they can use it for, to circumvent exchange controls. So that was just an article reflecting on the possible impact that Bitcoin could have on the Chinese economy.
I think
But
there's also some concerns in Russia as well. They've also got some issues.
you know what? That's true. But the Russian central bank are now looking at blockchain technology. I think what is happening is the guys are seeing, look, Bitcoin is here to stay. It's real. And if we really look at the positive application rather than a negative application of something, it's much more to our advantage. Because I said to somebody in the week, because somebody said to me, Bitcoin is a bit dodgy. And I said, you know what? That's completely incorrect. Bitcoin doesn't have an emotion or a personality. Bitcoin is a computer program. It's ones and zeros. It's only people that
Exactly.
are dodgy, and people can use anything, to be dodgy with. And the more Bitcoin becomes mainstream, the less dodgy people will actually, be attracted to it. And at the moment, all the banks and everybody, and as we'll see in the news coming out, all the big banks, all the big companies, everybody is embracing Bitcoin because Bitcoin is a form of digital cash. That's all it is. And you can use it for anything, like just the way you can use your normal currency. So so I think those type of comments are just coming out of ignorance, and they will start disappearing as Bitcoin goes more mainstream.
Yes, absolutely. Now, we all know that Sir Richard Branson is actually a Bitcoin believer. And here's an article of him saying, I think Bitcoin is working. And we know it's working.
I think I was wondering how many Bitcoins he's got stashed away.
I think he's got plenty.
Yeah, of
And I know that
course.
the Winklevoss twins actually bought a ticket for his Galactica.
Well, they have the Bitcoin to buy it, don't they? They
Yeah,
invested
they do.
their Facebook profits into Bitcoin. So yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so here's you can even catch a taxi in Turkey, believe it or not. It says here Bitcoin taxis soon to become a norm around the world. So that could be pretty cool too. The other thing is when you are traveling and you don't have, let's say you don't have euros and you've got dollars or you've got rands. At least when you get to the country and you need to use a taxi, you can actually just use your Bitcoin. So don't
Tracy,
lose out.
I was thinking about this when I saw this. How many times I travel quite a lot. You know how many times I've gone to an airport, and then I struggle to get the local. Then I have to go and find a local currency to catch a cab. It's crazy, and it's horrendously expensive to actually change currency at the airport. And
Yes.
sometimes, we're only in a town for a day. And what happens now is I've got a bag of euros. There must be 200 euros in it of coins that I can't get rid of. And it all comes, most of it has been accumulated over years of taxi trips. The other thing that's interesting, I think I'm looking at Richard Branson and the taxis. I actually also saw there's a company where you can rent a private jet with your Bitcoin if you have the money to fly private. So that's quite interesting how many things can be done now with Bitcoin.
That's very, very interesting. So here's another one. A report on Bitcoin wallet providers failing to make privacy a priority.
I think this is a consumer report looking at how wallet providers are collecting information from wallet holders and how they are keeping that information and stuff like that, and basically saying that they should up their game. And it's important, if you're a consumer, if you go to any website, not just Bitcoin or anything on the internet, and people ask you for copies of your passport and copies of your driver's license and proof of address, you've got to ask yourself, who are these people? Should I be sending my details to them?
Yeah.
A lot of people just do it because people ask for it.
Yes.
And so it's important for consumers to be aware. So these type of reports are very, very necessary, that they come out and rate people. So yeah.
Well, yes, and also, we might not be thinking of it, and at least it's this is something that it's now in your face, so you have to think about it.
Absolutely.
The next one, we must regulate Bitcoin. Problem is, we don't understand it. Now, I wonder who doesn't understand. Well, it's probably, as you said, the government.
Well, government regulators are very, very quick to say they don't understand something because they don't want to put their necks on the line. And that's the one thing. And then I also think there's an element of them truly not understanding it because they're failing to educate themselves. But as it becomes more mainstream, I promise you, they are going to educate themselves quickly about what's going on, because they realize that this is a problem to the regulated financial system, and they've got to find ways of accommodating Bitcoin. And governments want to know who are using Bitcoin and who's exchanging value, because there are certain people they want to track. So yeah, I think it's important, and we'll definitely see some Bitcoin regulation coming out. And actual fact, Tracy, I can't wait for it, because the fact is it will put more demand. It will just give more credibility to Bitcoin. We'll have more Bitcoin demand, and it will give a whole new space of people getting involved in the Bitcoin area. The compliance industry, which is the fastest growing industry in the world, hasn't grabbed the Bitcoin opportunity yet. So that's the thing we're going to see happen, is Bitcoin compliance is going to be a big business, and more demand for Bitcoin. So yeah, that's why I'm bullish. I think this is now becoming a mainstream industry.
Absolutely.
And we're right in the beginning of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the exciting thing. We are right in the beginning of this. So whoever actually starts accumulating their Bitcoin is certainly going to make a huge amount of money in the next while. And I believe nothing to fear of. Absolutely nothing to fear of.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is your thing: blockchain, blockchain, blockchain. So Peter, there's been such a everybody seems to be developing or involved in some or other project around blockchain, around the blockchain. So I definitely believe that there's just so much attention at the moment, and it's pretty exciting.
A corporate animal, whether he works in a bank or whether he works in a big corporation, is a funny type of person. They are very keen to say, we, as corporations or as banks, we love the blockchain technology, but we're not involved in Bitcoin. In actual fact, is the blockchain and Bitcoin is the same thing, because the blockchain cannot work without a double ledger entry that is effectively a Bitcoin. So, newsflash for those guys, they are involved with Bitcoin, and the more blockchain development takes place, the more the demand for Bitcoin is being grown. And the
And the higher the
interesting
price.
thing is, Tracy, if you look at this news, these guys are now starting this development. So this is not blockchain technologies that are applied yet. This is stuff that guys are working on, and they're building applications. And this is now going to start running on the actual blockchain and on the on the Bitcoin infrastructure. And um, as soon as that starts to happen, then we're going to see the pent up demand for Bitcoin put the fire under the Bitcoin price.
Yes. No, definitely very, very exciting times ahead. This was an interesting one as well. 40 banks trial commercial paper trading in the latest R3 blockchain test. So 40 banks. Excellent.
Well, banks trade commercial paper, and all that paper, it's so much easier if they can transfer of assets on the blockchain is a big growing area, digital assets. And with the nice thing with the blockchain is, there's a permanent record that can't be erased, and
Mm.
this opens all kinds of things in trading. I also saw attaching to this that all the big security firms are looking, and the security firms are the stockbrokers, are looking at trading applications. And also I saw the Seoul, the South Korean stock exchange, are looking at trading applications in Bitcoin. If they're looking at, I can promise you, all the big exchanges, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, the New York Stock Exchange, they're all looking at this. And
Mm.
again, there's millions of trades every minute throughout the world that's happening. And if all those trades hop onto the blockchain, we're going to see a price explosion in Bitcoin that you can't believe. I'm sounding like a broken record, but I'm just seeing a pent-up demand for Bitcoin that's being built up and up and up, and it's like a spring tightening, and it's gonna explode soon.
Okay, so they actually say, I saw just a while ago, about a month or so ago, about, obviously the price. Well, what they're saying is they're predicting that the price goes to $1,200, so over $1,000 by the end of the year. But then the next prediction is hovering around about $5,000 per Bitcoin. I mean, at the moment, it's under $440. So if anybody's got any spare money, and in fact, not even spare money, Peter. I know that you are changing your whole portfolio, investment portfolio, and yeah, honestly, if anybody's got money that they want to put into Bitcoin, go right ahead and do it, because I don't believe that there's a risk here.
Well, the thing is, well, I think there's going to be a few hiccups along the way. I think one of the biggest hiccups coming is the actual capacity of the internet with all this new. I mean, this is going to put a lot of extra additional traffic and bandwidth and stuff like that on the net. But it's always been like that with movie streaming and mobile phones and whatever the investment in computer hardware and data centers and stuff like that is just ever increasing. So, and it's just going to become more and more and more. So there are going to be days when the internet are slow, but
Mm.
that's just part and parcel of of what's happening. The other interesting thing is, I've been watching, when Bitcoin started, even just a year ago, and there was any negative news or any bad news, the price reacted quite strongly to the downside. And this is a sign of the fact that the industry is maturing a little bit. Is when things happen, if there's a hiccup or something negative coming out, that knee-jerk reactions are becoming less and less.
Mm. Yes, this is true. This is definitely true. So it's starting to stabilize. Well, when we say stabilize, it's still a very volatile currency, and anything can happen. But it's certainly looking good at the moment.
Well, the main thing is, what gives me comfort over the long term is the fact that all the big companies and big banks and everybody and governments are starting to use it. So long term, that's just going to put a demand for Bitcoin. It's going to become part of our lives. And like everything, it's like the internet in the beginning. Email, everybody started getting email addresses and then websites. Remember how slow websites were in the beginning?
Yes,
It took ages
absolutely.
to load. You
I
couldn't
know.
download videos and stream videos and stuff like that. And now all of a sudden, it's instant, and it's the same type of thing is going to happen with Bitcoin.
Okay, here's an interesting one, the blockchain and Bitcoin and the impact on real estate. And Peter, I know that you're in commercial real estate. And I
Yes.
honestly, yeah, just give us your input over here.
Well, the main thing is again, yeah, the blockchain, for people that don't know it, is really a double entry ledger. So you can store any type of document or anything on the blockchain, and by sending a copy to somebody else, or sending a message to somebody else, a digital message, and then that thing will be stored. So on the real estate side, you can actually, any contract or any ownership issues can be documented on the blockchain and can never be erased. And the impact is especially in places where it's hard to get title ownership on real estate. The blockchain technology looking very exciting, and a lot of governments look at it. And this is one of the things that can really alleviate poverty in the world. And this is how I see the big impact that something like this Bitcoin technology is going to have, is on third world countries and on places where it's developed, because it's a well-known economic fact, and it's been documented many times, that countries where property ownership are the strongest in law are also the countries that are the most prosperous.
Mm.
So, and what this does is it actually puts, property ownership beyond dispute, or very
And
easy to prove.
And there's also other benefits in terms of Bitcoin and real estate. If you're sitting in another country, you can actually send your Bitcoin and your payment across to anywhere in the world, and they'll receive it in a few minutes. And besides that, so that's really
Well, because the
the
cost of the
saving.
cost of transfer of any asset, that's the big advantage of Bitcoin, is the fact that you can do cross-border transactions in anything. It doesn't just apply to real estate; it applies to
Correct,
anything. You can
correct.
do a cross-border transaction, which brings your cost of conveyancing down completely. You pay for it in the guy's money immediately, and you can now upload the transfer deed to the blockchain as well,
Mm,
and give the guy a digital transfer. So that can all be done. And
yeah.
that's why the stock exchanges are looking at it, because remember that most share certificates and this stuff now are digitized. They not a lot of share certificate or companies actually produce stock certificates anymore.
Mm,
All your futures contracts, all your options, all of those things are dematerialized. They're all in digital form. They're not on paper.
mm,
And most money. I mean, this is what people don't realize. People think that Bitcoin is the first digital currency. That's total nonsense. We've had
mm,
digital currencies since the day you've got your first bank statement, on the bank's computer, because that's just your bank your bank that statement in pounds or in dollars. That is just a digital currency. The bank is not necessarily sitting with those banknotes in a little vault just for you. So that is already, that's on the bank's computer, their ownership. It's not, they don't necessarily own those banknotes.
mm. Yeah, that's a thought, eh? Okay, Bank of England official. Digital currencies could impair bank lending. Now, this is quite an interesting one because, you know, I mean, you've been doing a lot of work with the banks, or rather, you know a lot about what the banks do. And the fact that they just won't keep them, that they will always make sure that they cash in on any opportunity. Um, so, yes, Peter, in terms of lending.
Well, I think the central banks are, in the first sentence here, the guy says that he thinks Bitcoin is not going to have wide adoption, and that the central banks are going to actually do their own digital currencies. There's a surprise coming for the central banks. The thing, they want to control money, and that's why all the central banks are going to look at producing their own digital currencies. And a lot of them are going to use the blockchain, which means it's going to put a demand on the Bitcoin. But the fact is, people don't trust central banks because they print money, whereas Bitcoin is a mathematical program that can't be tampered with, so you can't make more. And this is the problem with paper currencies. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens.
Well, they actually say that 97% of the money in the world is actually debt because of printing of money, just printing money. Since the gold standard was scrapped in the early 70s.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Okay, Visa seeks developer for secure, scalable blockchain project. Now, this is the start of the jobs. So even though I think it was last week or the week before, we spoke about the French being very worried about the fact that there's going to be a loss of jobs, and it's a bit of a concern. And yes, probably you wouldn't, there are going to be jobs that are going to be lost, but there are also jobs that are going to be created, and this seems to be one of them. So I think there's a lot of opportunity for people who want to get into this.
Well, I know the banks are hiring people in the cryptocurrency divisions. The banks actually now have Bitcoin or cryptocurrency divisions, and I think the cryptocurrency professional is a new job title. Or Bitcoin professional, or Bitcoin programmer, or cryptocurrency programmer, professionals, marketers. It's going to create a whole new industry, create a whole bunch of new jobs. Like anything new, it just creates more and more new opportunities, and also a lot of additional other industries that's popping up alongside it. That's why there's new money invested in all these new Bitcoin companies and stuff like that. It's creating a new economy that creates new wealth. And it's taking the big thing about this economy, the biggest commodity cost in the world. The biggest commodity in the world is money. And the biggest cost in our economy is the cost of money, the cost to move money, bank fees. And this has been taken out. And if it's taken out, what can happen with that extra money that's in the economy? It can be reinvested in new things, in new technologies, and in new growth. So, people shouldn't be scared of it. That's how things happened. When the Industrial Revolution came, people people were scared initially of what's happening, and because they thought there's going to be machines on the farms and the farm workers would have no work anymore, and the next thing is they were all working in factories, and so it's just how it works.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, this was quite an interesting one because I know about Genesis Mining. New fund aims to bring Bitcoin mining profits to high net worth investors. They reckon this is going to be billed as the world's first Bitcoin mining fund. And they're linking
Well,
up.
I think, it's not really a mining fund because it's linked to Genesis Mining themselves. So it's really a private placement by Genesis, and also it's done as a private placement offering in the US to US high net worth individuals under the Securities and Exchange Division Regulation D regulations, which means that they're filing a form with the Securities and Exchange Commission. It doesn't regulate the fund. It just notifies the Securities and Exchange Commission that the fund actually exists. That's all they're doing. And really, it's not really a fund in the normal sense of the word that's investing in mining, because it's only investing in Genesis. So it's really a initial public offering by Genesis in a way. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Okay, XBT provider sees growing Bitcoin demand. Private blockchain hype will translate to higher Bitcoin prices at a later stage. So yeah, this is quite an interesting one as well, Peter.
This has been what I've been saying now for like a broken record for the last 2 months.
Yeah.
For the whole year last year, we saw how many new blockchain developments are taking place. And the beginning of this year, and even just in the last week, all those new blockchain things that were announced last week are all companies that are developing new blockchain applications. at some point, those applications are going to come to the blockchain and start working on the blockchain. And like the guy says, it's a growing demand because every blockchain application that starts working on the blockchain needs Bitcoin to run because Bitcoin and the blockchain is one thing. So so all this new investment into blockchain technology, all the banks, and there are thousands and thousands of banks in the world. They are all looking at this. So this is all going to run on the Bitcoin system. So the guy's exactly right what he says. The private blockchain hype, in other words, there's a lot of people that are getting involved now that are not going to be involved for a long time because, some people are overextending themselves. It just works that way. But it will translate to higher Bitcoin prices because of growing demand.
So
Exactly right.
basically, the writing is on the wall. Bitcoin prices are going to rise.
If you're looking at that picture of Usain Bolt showing his lightning bolt into the air, that's where the Bitcoin price is going.
Yeah.
And not slow, fast.
Yeah.
Faster than Usain runs the 100 meters.
Well, you know what? Last year it doubled. It was 92% last year. It grew, but you know what? This coming year there's potentially 3 times, by 300%, and who knows, eh? Just can it's
You
going to
see,
keep on growing.
Tracy, we've got this perfect storm of. Let me tell you what we have. We have this perfect storm of Bitcoin getting now widespread adoption in the mainstream. In other words, your investment funds and all those people and the banks, everybody is looking at Bitcoin. You've got this blockchain development where big companies and banks and everyone is looking at getting involved. And you've got the halving of the actual block, the actual mining that's going to be, cutting the supply of Bitcoins in half.
Yes.
So those things are all meeting now at some kind of an inflection point. And that inflection point is pointing towards the middle of this year. But any trader or any investor is going to look at this and say, I better get in before I miss out on this inflection point. So get in now, don't wait. And that's exactly what the markets do. Markets look ahead. So I'm saying is if you want to ride the Bitcoin wave, there's no point in waiting to June or even to tomorrow. You need to go get in now. And and that's what I'm doing. And this is just what the news, if I was a trader looking at trading the news, this is what the news is telling me at the moment. It's telling me it's time, if you read between the lines.
Definitely reading between the lines. It's definitely time, and I couldn't agree with you more. And it's actually so exciting. I mean, since I've been in Bitcoin, I mean, like I said, it has doubled, and so now I'm kind of kicking myself that I didn't save my Bitcoin when I first got in. But you know what? We learn as we go along, and we've picked up a lot of experience in the last few months. I have to say, Peter.
Well, I must tell you that I don't want the Bitcoin price to go up now because I want to buy more. So I'm waiting for some bad news so that the price can come down a little bit because I wouldn't mind buying more and more and more. I would want to buy as much as I can because this is a long-term story. Bitcoin is going to be with us as long as the internet exists in future. And as long as email exists, Bitcoin will be with us. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And more and more people are adopting Bitcoin. I mean, more and more people are getting into Bitcoin every single day. As I still say to you, every single day somebody's messaging me about what is Bitcoin. How can I join the Bitcoin revolution? And so many people out there are wanting to embrace Bitcoin, and I just think it's so exciting. Okay, so we're going to end off with a Bitcoin quote from Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, and he says Bitcoin is a remarkable cryptographic achievement, and the ability to create something that is not duplicatable in the digital world has enormous value. And I think that's the exciting thing here, Peter, because with fiat currency, paper currency, it is you can print as much as you like, but you cannot make more Bitcoin. You cannot make more Bitcoin.
Tracy, this is the main thing that people that are saying that Bitcoin is not backed by anything, or there's no, nothing underwrite, no value underwriting Bitcoin. They don't understand the enormity of this quote. Because if you look at this quote, it says, something that's not duplicatable in the digital world. What is the biggest problem with any digital content? The fact that it's not unique. If you upload a YouTube video, somebody can download that video and steal it. If you make a record and you put it online, somebody can copy it and they can pirate your record. They can pirate your movie. So that was the one big downside of all digital currencies that was ever tried. It's very easy to counterfeit, to duplicate. What makes the blockchain system unique is the fact that you've got this encryption system where you have this validation from everybody in the chain that makes every single transaction that happens unique. That is unbelievable. That is the unbelievable thing. You, for the first time now, you've created digital content that cannot be replicated. It's unique. It's like a fingerprint or a DNA sample. And
Yes.
that is where the value is. And the fact is, the reason why it's got such tremendous value is because it can be instantly transferred all over the globe with a push of a button, but it still remains unique. And that's the value. And that value, I'm telling you now, is undescribable. And the application of it is undescribable.
Well, you know what, Peter, you and I are two peas in a pod with this because I'm also just absolutely, the potential and the opportunity that is out there is just absolutely enormous. It's really, really massive. In fact, I must get, there's like an opportunity, a graph that I need to find just to show people exactly what the opportunity with Bitcoin is. I mean, it is just ginormous. So finishing off on that point, which is a very, very positive one, it's cheerio from me.
And cheerio from me. And next week we'll be back at the same time. Guys, we love your support. Please go to the bottom of this video and you'll see there a subscribe button to our BitEquity YouTube channel or to our Facebook page. Please subscribe. The more people subscribe, the more value we can provide. Thank you very much.
Thank you.